After months of trying and even hiring a private investigator to track him down, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell has finally served his Republican colleague Mo Brooks with a lawsuit. It aims to hold Congressman Brooks accountable for his alleged role in inciting the January 6th insurrection. Here's what the Alabama Republican told a crowd of Trump supporters just before they marched on the Capitol.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
Brooks says Swalwell's legal team broke the law while serving the legal paperwork. He says they sneaked into his house and accosted his wife. Now, CNN can't corroborate that claim, I should say, but Swalwell's attorney told us this earlier today.
The process server did not go into the Brookses' home, and the Brookses know that. Yesterday morning, a different process server who was successful was in front of the house in the morning and actually saw Mrs. Brooks drive by twice, apparently spotting him, even parking at the dead end of their street, apparently watching and waiting, and then took off for a few hours. And she came back when she obviously thought the coast was clear, and that's when he was able to serve her. It was a lawful service, and Mo Brooks is now in the case.
CNN legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Jennifer Rogers joins us now to discuss this. Jennifer, now that Congressman Brooks has been served, what happens next?
Well, Anna, now he has to answer the complaint. So he has to, or his lawyers really, will answer all the allegations in the complaint, of course, mostly with denials, but presumably some facts as well. And then it's time for motions and discovery. That's really the big ticket item here. It's the reason, I think, why Representative Swalwell filed the case in the first place, to get discovery in terms of depositions and interrogatories to try to learn exactly what happened on January 6th.
Now, if Brooks feels he was improperly served, is there anything he can do legally?
He can make a motion. I mean, the motion really will be that he doesn't feel the court has jurisdiction over him or over the case, and that's not going to succeed. This case was filed exactly where it should be. D.C. is where the events happened. It's where Mo Brooks spends a big chunk of his year as a representative. So he can try to make that motion to dismiss the cases to him, but it will not succeed.
The issue over whether it was appropriate to serve Brooks' wife, can they do that if she's not named in the lawsuit?
They can, yes. There are specific rules about who you can serve. If you go to the person's home and there's an adult there, you can serve that person. But this is all, I mean, even if they weren't able to serve the wife yesterday, eventually, if they try enough times and the person obviously knows about the lawsuit, which we know Representative Brooks does because he's talked about it publicly, then they can eventually waive service. The court eventually would have waived service. So all of this is really just a bit of silliness, frankly, about the Brookses hiding under their beds or whatever they were doing. It doesn't really, in the end, impact the fact that they do have to answer this complaint and move forward with the lawsuit.
How strong is Swalwell's case against Congressman Brooks?
You know, it's really hard to say, Anna, until discovery starts. We all know what he said publicly. You know, there's the First Amendment, though, so the issue of whether he actually incited those actions is going to be a tough one. I think in discovery they're going to be looking for these connections between the groups that came to the Capitol armed for violence, ready to go, and people like Mo Brooks, to see whether they can make a stronger case than just their words at the rally. So at this point, I would say it's pretty hard to say, although, you know, it is a civil suit. It's not a criminal suit. They don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he was guilty. They just have to convince a jury that it's, you know, 51%. The preponderance of the evidence suggests that he was responsible for what happened.
How long do you think it takes for this process to play out?
Civil cases are very, very slow. Discovery by itself takes months and months and months. I mean, I think we're talking about a couple of years before this plays out for sure.
Good to know. Appreciate your insight and expertise. Thank you, Jennifer Rogers.